What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Michelle and Dina, and we are discussing the season 1 finale of Outlander Blood of My Blood. We are already back in Droughtlander. Oh, but you know what? They sent us out on a good note because this episode was so good. It was so good, but I know we have thoughts. I know Michelle got plenty of thoughts. But what we're going to do with this episode, because a lot of the Mackenzie, Fraser, Grant stuff is, it took up most of the episode. We're going to start with Henry and Julia first and then go into the other stuff because Henry and Julia were pretty cut and dry with this episode. We
Yeah.
didn't have a lot going on with them. Just we did get some flashbacks. We finally get to meet a little Claire. And we finally get to meet Quentin Lambert Beauchamp or Beecham. I will say this. Claire seems like she's just as precocious as a toddler and as a little girl as she is as an adult. And
And she loves cake.
And she loves cake. And I love the love that Uncle Lamb has for her. Like that kind of makes it, for me, us knowing that Claire never got her parents back, the fact that she was so surrounded by love, that just makes it so much better because he obviously adored this little girl.
And he spoke so much life into her that was real.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, slow down, sir. You're putting a little too much.
Right. Like, okay, you talking about her adventures and all this other stuff. Look, maybe he's the reason why she ended up having that kind of life.
It's Uncle Lamb's fault. You're gonna be an adventurer. You're gonna do this and do that. I'm like, slow down, sir. She's
right.
2.
Right, she's 2, and then when she's 5, they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna have her doing this and he's gonna have her doing that, and she's ruling over him over on the beach. She's telling him, I want to do this, I want to do that. He's like, okay, let's do this. I said, you know what? I'm glad we got to see that little bitty part of Claire's childhood because again, you get to see kind of what formed her as a woman. She had these 2 amazing parents who loved her for 5 years. And then when they disappeared, she has this other surrogate parent who basically, like you said, breathed life to her from an early age. And you can just imagine that with the loss of her parents, and especially like his brother, he probably poured double into her. Like, okay, you know what? I will make sure this girl knows she's loved. I'm not going to abandon her, blah, blah, blah. I love seeing that. I thought it was so much fun. And I'm so glad to finally put a face to
Uncle Lamb.
Like, we saw him in the very first episode of the original series, but that was also an older version of him, So I liked it. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, it was really sweet, but it was also like so sad to just see like them as a family, as a whole family, and then just to not know like what was coming in the future, and just to know that family was going to be kind
that
of
they will never
apart.
Be this family again.
I know. It was just made me sad to watch. It was so pretty and sweet, but it was so sad to think like, oh man, their lives are going to be ripped apart. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Claire will never see her parents. Maybe. But growing up, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe old. At least, maybe not. Yeah. But clearly we still know, she grew up without her parents. So that's the most difficult part.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've settled what I think in my head is going to happen. I think she's going to meet her brother. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think it's
I feel that. We need that. We do need this.
I was just thinking, like, it could be the parents because whoever they go, wherever they go, I don't know. But that, because they left us on a cliffhanger, which I knew they would.
Of course. But they probably did that also because they got the early renewal, so they knew that the story would continue. They didn't have to tie up any loose ends. I mean, I think they did. I think they did really good with this one because if the season had ended, if this was just a one shot, one and done, I think they ended it in a great place because, especially for Jamie's parents, we already know kind of what has happened. We can fill in the blanks. And, the interesting thing about Claire's parents, I was reading an interview that Diana Gabaldon did regarding this because she co-wrote this episode as well as the last episode. And she was talking about how I think they were asking her about writing Julia and Henry because they're, of course, in her books, they're dead. And the way that she described it, she said they don't seem real to her because in her mind, those two characters are dead. So she really tries not to write anything for them in the show because they're not real to her, which that kind of struck me kind of funny because it's like, okay, I understand they're not real to you because they're your characters and you killed them off, but you obviously have two people playing them on screen doing a really, really good job. I almost feel like it's a little disrespectful, but
it's very much disrespectful.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very much disrespectful.
Yeah. Because
y'all don't want me to get started.
I mean, I can understand if the story was if it was a crap story, you wanted to distance yourself from that. But it's not. They're telling a really, really good story and something that for Claire's parents, it could be believable. You could very well put this in a book and I would read it and be like, oh, okay, yeah. And like you say, Michelle, and we've had this discussion, the way that it reads on page, Claire just knows her parents died. We don't know for sure what happened to them, and it does feel open-ended. At least it did for me as a reader, because again, if Claire's parents in the books are not time travelers, where does she get the gene or the ability or whatever you want to call it? Where did she get it?
Yeah.
And then, like you said, her daughter, her grandchildren, it has to be somewhere in the family.
Yeah, in the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if her.
So yes, she was.
Is more about because she had kind of wrote them off as dead in her heart, mind, and soul. She buried those characters and they're done for her.
Yeah.
In that way, as an author, not necessarily as the show, but like just as an author, she just kind of those characters in her mind were gone. And then in the show, they're like, but no, this is a prequel, so we need to flesh this out. And she kind of was like, but in my world, they're dead. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think she has said that before, like when they came to her with the idea and they were like, okay, so this is what we want to do for the show. She's always been very vocal about the fact that she realizes the show and the books are not going to necessarily match up because one, her world on paper is so dense. There's so many things that are in the books that have not shown up in the show at all. And she realizes that that's the kind of thing that happens when you turn in something from page to screen.
Right.
And then also.
Yes, but let me just say this. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And no, I have not gotten through all the books. Mm-hmm. However, I will one day. However, you write such a rich story. You have even backstories to stories. Mm-hmm. But Claire's parents, you just like totally disregard. Okay, they dead and that's all. Like history. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Roger has history, but Claire has no history.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the one part I feel is disrespectful. But they're getting their due time now. But in getting their due time, it's still not great. And no, Hanako, I didn't like how this ended. Even if this was the last show. Mm-hmm. I know they will never get to Claire, but damn it, can they get somewhere together? Can I see them in Hawaii or something that I know that they okay? They don't. That's the one couple I just want to make sure that they're together. So here we go. I don't know if they're together. Right. One has the baby, one don't have the baby.
Oh, yeah. Or did they all end up touching? Because like when he grabbed her hand, did they all somehow?
See, right. That's what I feel. So
for their future, we have no clue, and I'm upset about that. Jamie's parents, the love. We so love. We making love for 20 hours. But Claire's parents.
No, look, y'all gonna stop. Y'all gonna stop with Brian and Ellen because it still ain't as long as what was it, the A Malcolm episode where Claire and Jamie reunited. That shit took an hour. So no, we gonna give Brian and Ellen
years. It was 20 years.
We're gonna give them,
and then the lives that they destroyed for their love. See, so we're not there yet.
We're gonna do that later.
But Claire's parents got the short end of the stick. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
That was part of my thing too. I was just like, I just need to just give me. I wish I had just given us an inch more. Say whether somebody traveled or not.
Just to like they pop up somewhere together. Then, we don't know the time. We don't know nothing.
I knew they would leave it on a cliffhanger, but I really wish they would have gone somewhere else. Yeah. But I feel like if they do that, then it will give too much away for the new season.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons as well. But I did feel that at the end because you're having this discussion about, okay, well, I'll take him and go because I'll keep him and stay and you go because, they don't know if the baby can travel, but also you guys don't know the in and outs of what this is. As far as I know, you don't have any gemstones on you because you don't realize that is a component that you need to have. Like you don't have all of the information that Claire was able to get because at this point you have only been trying to survive. And it wasn't just one coming through. Both of you guys came through, even though y'all didn't know both came through. So it's kind of like, okay, is he here? Is she here? Did I leave them behind? You're still trying to figure all this stuff out. So you haven't even thought about, let me go back to the stones because you're trying to figure out how to stay alive. 2, whether or not your person followed you through. And if they did, where the hell are they? Like, we already know that Henry knew Julia was where she was supposed to be because he saw the SWAK on the rock. Julia had no clue where Henry was up until after she gave birth, but I just felt like at that point, you've got Archbug and the other Grant people coming after you. Okay, the time for discussion is over. You can't give her back the baby and say, I'm going to send you guys through to give you a chance and I'm going to stay here. No, because at this point, and I hate to say it like this, if the baby can't travel,
I mean,
at least where he is, and if you can figure out a way to get back, at least you can do that. I don't think Archbug.
That's true. And somebody's right.
Yeah, I don't think he would kill the baby just to kill the baby. I mean, but then again, I don't know. It's Archbug. He might
have given it to Merdina.
Could have. Ooh, that would have been interesting. Ooh. That would have been interesting.
Because I have a theory. Because if they touch the stones, right? And what if they end up in Jamie and Claire's time?
That's what we was talking about that.
Yeah.
That is
like they are with the baby.
Because remember we said that they was just thinking about getting back to Claire in any way. Oh, also I was thinking on his Grant garb, he might have had some fancy brooch or something holding his kilt together. And then she might have had something in her ring from the Laird that might have helped them go through.
Okay.
I just feel
and the baby is exempt.
Could be, yeah.
But then it doesn't tie into Faith and the girl singing the song. So that doesn't tie a bow on that. But it would be, nice and special if they just popped up.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So
oh my God, what if she helps them deliver their baby?
Either that, or if they travel or whatever, maybe they didn't travel. Maybe they ended up staying in that particular time. Maybe it doesn't work because, again, far as we know, they don't have jewels or whatever. So if William is brought up in this time, that means that he's going to be maybe a few years, obviously a few years younger than Claire, like in real lifetime, but he would still be old enough. He would be older than Jamie in the 1700s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the whole thing about the faith of revelation, or what could be a revelation with Fanny and Jane, we said, okay, this couldn't be like maybe nieces. This might be grandchildren, or of Claire's whoever. It could be Claire's brother's children, and maybe he just happened to, I don't know,
Get
marry
raised with his
someone named
phone.
Faith.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he grew up with Julia as his mother, she would have sang that song. He could have taught it to her, and then she would have sang it to the kid. I mean, there at this point, there's so many possibilities that there could be, and I've
And
gotten
they
to
could
the
have
point.
another kid.
Could, and I've just gotten to the point where,
yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna try to not. I'm gonna try to not theorize so much, because there's so many different ways that this can go.
So many ways they can go.
Like the whole time travel thing is not, it's not concrete, because think about it. Roger went back thinking he was looking for Jimmy and ended up way further back than he was supposed to go, which had never happened to any of them. He went 200 plus years into the past. Theirs have always been right around 202, 203 years. So that's another factor. They could have, if they did go through the stones, they could have gone further backwards in time. They could have gone forward in time. We just don't know.
That is interesting. You brought that up, because I did wonder about that, like how that he had Jimmy on his heart, but I guess his father was on his heart more.
Well, I mean, yeah, and he did say, I thought about my father. He was thinking about his father, because he was like, Jim is without his father. I grew up without my father. I don't want that to happen. And it just so happens that Jimmy is named after his father, Jeremiah.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's where the stones could have been like, oh, okay, well,
we got a Jeremiah for you.
Well, and not only that, we know that his Jimmy was never lost in time, we know that his Jimmy did not go through the stones.
Right.
So of course the stones are probably like, oh, okay, well, we do recognize a Jimmy that is related to this man that is out of time or out of place in time. I don't know how the stones work. I don't know how they determine who goes where, or what that whole thing is. But something about that pull was stronger for Roger, because of course his Jimmy was nowhere in the stones, nowhere in time. So it naturally would have been like, oh, okay, if he's looking for a Jeremiah through the stones, then he must be looking for this one.
Yeah.
But again, those stones we still don't really know a lot about them, except for what Galis, figured out about them. And we know that her stuff is, while it was, correct, is also a little bit flawed, because she was thinking you have to have a blood sacrifice to go through. And that's not always the case, of course.
She was thinking, I think she wanted to do that now.
I was about to say, she was a little murderous.
Right. Yeah. Like she read, there was like 5 points, and she was like, nah, I like the first part.
Right.
This one feels more,
Yeah.
This feels more good for me.
Yeah. Especially considering that between
who cares about a jewel
and Arthur Duncan, that she apparently killed a couple more people in between then. So yeah. Or no,
yeah, she was murdering people on the island too. They knew her as like a murderess, didn't they?
Yeah. In Jamaica, yep.
That mean, I can't wait to get there, because I'm still doing my rewatch.
Yeah. But going back to Henry and Julia and all that stuff, I will say this too. I almost kind of sort of had a very, 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 very tiny bit of sympathy for Lord Lovat, because I feel like Lord Lovat may actually think he actually does love Julia. Like he behaves completely different around her. So I felt I was like, okay, you know what? She duping him too. I was like, now he deserves, but I do feel a little bit bad for him. Just a little bit.
It's a good point, though. She's so good at manipulating him.
Her and Ellen both.
She is.
Yeah. But it's a product of the times, because they have no rights, they have no autonomy, they have no they are not in control of anything. So what's the one thing you have? Your womanly wiles. So guess what? I'm about to put that to use.
Yes.
But when he touched that shoulder, he was like, "You coming to my bedchamber
Oh
tonight?" She was
no,
like, "Oh
I'm
no."
not.
Well, we're not.
Oh yeah.
You ain't sprinkling no more stuff on his foot.
Right. But not only that, my whole thing was, why not wait until close to dark to try to escape? Why are you escaping in full daylight?
Yeah.
Now, I like what she ended up doing as far as, okay, we're gonna do this. You're gonna have Ballard come after me, telling Miss Porter this, because she was like, I don't want you to get in trouble. Because remember, I think I said this 2 episodes ago. I was like, if she helps Julia, what is he going to do to her? I was kind of worried because we don't really know what happened to Miss Porter in the future. We know Jamie mentions his grandmother. We don't know how she died. We don't know even if she's dead. She might have just left Lord Lovat and got the hell on, but we don't know. So that has been a worry of mine. But when she was like, okay, we're going to make it so that you have no fault in this. After I leave, wait a little bit, call Ballard, tell him I was kidnapped, and then we'll go from there. So that part worked. It worked, I mean, very well. They were able to get away, her and Henry with the baby. And then, like we said, they stopped to kind of get some rest. Watching Henry hold that baby and just looking at him, just rocking, just so happy.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, you know what?
I was like, put that fire out. They go see you.
That's what I said too. Because you see Arch bugging them looking, and I'm just like, please don't find them. Please be in the opposite direction. But I kind of figured, I said, you know what? I said, they have had no issues on this ride the whole time. I said, something tells me Bug is going to show up at Craig Nadoon, because he knows that's where Henry was trying to go the first time he brought him back.
Right. Because he talked about it so much.
Yeah, right. He keeps bringing. Yeah, he kept. That's the thing about Henry. He talks so damn much. Mm-hmm. Stop telling people where you going and doing.
But the thing is, he didn't say anything to Bug about that. He said it to the whore, Seema. And she was, I was kind of glad she did not show up in this episode, because I thought she was gonna make some trouble. But
no, we didn't get our whore trouble, did we?
Because Diana talked them out of it. Diana told them, she was like, so you spent all this season, kind of a push and pull with Henry and Julia. Will they see each other? Won't they see each other? Now you're going to put them together, and you're going to have this be the issue. Like, Seema is going to come in, and, I think her line was supposed to be, Julia was supposed to say something like, do you know my husband? And she was like, yes, I know him in all the wifely ways, or something like that. She was like, do you really want to give them that kind of stress and drama right before they're running for their lives? So they thought better of it, and they took it out, which I'm so glad of, because I was like, that is something we definitely don't need to deal with. They got enough to deal with. They can talk about that later. Henry can tell her, look, I have a confession. When I thought you was dead, I slept with this woman, blah, blah, blah. Julia's going to understand, because what did she do? She slept with a man and became his whole wife to protect herself and her child. Mm-hmm. So there's not going to be that drama right there. But if you had done it right then yeah, that might have caused some issues. Archbug would have found them a little bit quicker. It would have been a little bit messy, because Henry, I feel like Henry would have fought at that. He was like, no, I have my wife and my child standing right here in front of me. I'll be damned if you're going to take them away from me.
Yeah. And then that he would have PTSD'd out, because he would have immediately went back to war.
Right.
In his head, and which is a good thing as far as like, oh, I got the strength to fight you. But it's a bad thing, because he won't be focused on, what's happening around him, and, and all that kind of stuff. And he's not calculating when he's in that mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they didn't give us the little whore drama, because I was like, oh, that's all we need.
We didn't need it.
I know Julia's a better woman than to be whining about that kind of stuff, but they like to do that to us sometimes.
Right. I mean, they have enough to worry.
Right, and you definitely. and you definitely know how they are. So like, I can't even see that hurting their relationship. But it just will be some little drama we have for 10 minutes. So that was the right decision.
Yeah.
Oh, so she cares about Claire's parents now? I'm just joking. Since they're thrown to the wolves, but
Well,
okay.
I think just overall, this story wise, she's like, okay, look, these are not my characters.
No, I think she cares for him now. Like, I didn't think, you know what? I see that. I see this. You know what? I have a story for them.
I think altogether, she just wants it to be a good show. Granted, she
right, and to fit though.
Characters. Yeah.
But to fit though.
Yeah.
So that doesn't fit them. Mm-hmm. That doesn't. And we kind of had this a little bit with Jamie and Claire. We don't really need to do this again.
Right.
Like you see what I'm saying? We don't need to do this again.
Went through it again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And Jamie way overreacted.
Way.
Yeah. But you know what? Jamie and Claire both are hotheads. They are both hotheads.
She was being nasty about Leary. And I'm like, it's been 20 years.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of felt Claire on
and
that.
You, like, this was like
that sent me to the witch trials.
No, I get it.
I know, but
mad, but
I get it. But even with Jamie, like, dude, like, this was like sympathy sex. They really just wanted to feel close to you. Like, get over it. And first of all, this man been taking care of your son for years. You better get over it.
Yourself, and almost married your daughter to save her as well. Like, he's willing to do.
Thank you. So get over it.
Yeah.
That made
every
me mad.
time.
When I seen his eye. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jamie and Claire are very much hotheads, both of them. Yes. And that is something that I've noticed. Like, I don't know where Claire gets that temper from, because it's not from Henry and from Julia. Because those two are so, and I don't want to say calm, but Julia especially, Julia really sits there and she thinks things through. She doesn't fly.
Things through.
She doesn't get upset, because even when she was talking to Lord Lovat, and she was telling him, look, you might need to let this Grant thing go, because it ain't doing you no favors. And he was like, hold your tongue, woman. You don't know what it is for, a wounded man's pride. And she was like, I'm just saying that our son is going to be king, and soon they're going to be bowing to you anyway. You're worried about the wrong thing. Like, she really, like you said, not just manipulation, but she understands how to read him and get him to kind of like calm the fuck down, because you over here, Matt, what are you going to do? These are the same people who ousted you out of high society. These are the people who look down on you. What are you going to do?
Right.
They don't like you. They don't respect you. You don't really have friends in that circle. So getting mad and getting upset and calling them out names, how is that going to help your position? It's not.
That's the thing. Like, if she could have been really his wife, she would have had him back in power.
Oh, absolutely.
Listening to her, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Because
she was thinking, yeah. But
like,
again, I don't know where Claire gets the hot-headedness, because it definitely didn't come from a mama.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've really seen Henry lose his temper like that either. Now, when he found out that they lied to him, he was upset.
Right.
But even with that, it wasn't let me go and kill them, or let me go and do this. It's okay, you know what? I just need to get out of here. I need to go.
I think maybe Claire got it just from like going through nursing, being in the war, and having to deal with men in her face and the military. And she probably just got like no nonsense. Like, look, I done been shot at. I done sold people up. I done cut arms off. You need to get up out my face.
Right.
That may be more of why she's like she is. And then she's obviously a little bit more modern because it's in the 40s or late 30s or early 40s.
Right. And you see that a lot too, where you'll be like, oh, those two people are so like calm and collective. And then they have a kid that's like coming off the ceilings and swinging from the fan. You're like, whoa.
And they're so patient with them. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how you get that kid? So that's just, they had she was going to be fiery. She's just fiery. So it was like two water people came together. I'm just throwing them some signs out there. Two water people came together and they had fire. It happens.
Those recessive genes on both sides just came together and whoof.
Yep.
It became a storm. Two waters came together. They were calm waters, came together and created a storm.
There you go. That sounds like right. Yep.
And it actually kind of makes me want to know more about even their parents and their history and like where they came from, because it's probably a grandparent, just like how Jamie would tell Brianna, you like your grandmama and whatever. It's probably some of that in what's her name, Julia or something, like.
Yeah, but
no more.
Again, she might not. Those characters might be dead to her. I'm actually thrilled with the fact that they've put them in here. I love learning more about them and learning more about Claire's background. And yeah, I'm enjoying their part of the story. I'm still reading things online where people are like, I really don't care about those characters, whatever.
Really?
Yes.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either. But
I don't understand why. I
don't have to like them. We like them enough for everybody, because Henry and Julia's story, again, to me, I feel like it's more intriguing because it's the story that we don't know anything about. So the fact that they're giving us
that's how I feel.
And telling us, and like even I was telling Dina before we started recording, my oldest daughter was over here this past weekend and she watched the first 2 episodes and she's familiar with Outlander. I think she stopped watching somewhere in the early part of the Christie storyline, so she hasn't gotten to the end yet. But she started watching it and it's like, as people were coming on the screen, she had to keep stopping because she was so amazed with the casting and how much they matched the people, as far as the older versions of themselves. But then as we're watching and she's watching Henry and Julia's story, like she's falling in love. She was like, oh, they fell in love writing letters and this, that,
so romantic.
Right. That whole thing. And then I told her, I said, I'm just going to let you know. I said, probably by the end of the season, Henry is going to be one of your favorite characters. She said he's already my favorite character. So yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that we're open to the possibilities. Like we're not holding and that could also be because all of us, I think I'm the only one out of the 3 of us who have read all the books, but I started as a show person first. So even though the books are canon, the books are not so canon to me that I'm like, okay, well, if they don't follow the books, I'm not going to enjoy the show. No, because I started enjoying the show first. And I think that could be part of the disconnect. The people who were book fans first, they're the ones who are usually, oh, I don't like the changes they've made. They're veering away from the story. They did this, they did that. And maybe that's the reason why they can't really find themselves
get into it.
Henry and Julia's story, because like that Diana says, those characters are not real to her. I think probably for the book people, it's kind of the same thing. They're like, okay, well, her parents are dead. Why do I want to read this background, especially if Diana says they're not time travelers? Well, you know what? Yeah, she said it. And this might just be glorified fan fiction, whatever it is. I love it. I love fan fiction. So especially if it's done right. And I'm sorry, this story is done right. It's being handled with love and care and respect, especially as it relates to the original characters. That's how I feel.
Right.
So, but we got to wait until next season to see what's going on with Henry and Julia. We know that they may have been separated at the Stones, or they may have all gone through, or maybe none of them went through.
Oh my God, if the baby's on the ground when they come back.
That, you know what? I
no,
I said
they
that
can't
earlier.
possibly
I don't
that.
think that's going to happen. I think Henry
they
was
can't
trying
do that.
He was trying to do the thing like Jamie did with Claire. He was trying to, guide Julia's hand to the stone. Yeah. He must not know his wife, because his wife is probably like, excuse me, if you're going to be here, I'm going to be here too. She probably didn't go through. I'm thinking they all probably Either they all went or they all stayed, but I don't think they've separated. I don't think they're separated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah, they can have
Separate.
other drama
Yeah.
after they get through, but let them be together.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Julia has said from the beginning, from the time they brought her to Castle Leathers, that she did not belong there, that she had a husband and a daughter. I mean, she told that to Miss Porter. Now, I don't know whether or not Lord Lovat knew, but he knew that she was saying that she didn't belong
She
there.
was kidnapped, yeah.
She was like, I'm from Hyde Park in London. I'm not supposed to be here. So if you all of a sudden, get brought this guy, she says, well, this is my husband. Okay, guess what? One, that just invalidated your own nuptials, maybe. Because we do know Balak will probably try to kill Henry to be like, oh, okay, well, nobody else knows that this is your husband, not knowing that there are some people who know that that's her husband. But
right.
I mean, it could be that kind of drama, because at this point, he already knew that she was pregnant before they consummated, because Miss Porter told him. So really, if you end up with egg on your face, it's all your fault, because everything has been telling you that this woman is not yours, this child is not yours from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he can't deny that. She definitely told him she thought that Julia was lying.
Right.
I'm a woman. I know these things. I know what it's like. And she was like, she told him. And he's my man. Okay. Okay, Papa.
Now, part of that is May's response, because when your seer is very kind of non-committal to your questions, then that does plant that.
Yes, there's a prince. Yes.
Just not your prince.
Not your prince.
No.
I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, that I think I will go back and just watch that episode, just to kind of see if there are any clues that they took from that particular episode and put into this storyline, as far as Lord Lovat goes. But okay. So right now, Julia and Henry's fate is up in the air.
Up in the air.
Gotta wait till next season. So with that being said, let's move on over to the other castle. And let's talk about
Castle Leoc.
Yeah, that's a whole soap opera.
Oh my God. So much going on.
Where you want to start? Where you want to start? Do you want to start Dougal first?
Let's start from the beginning, because you get to see when the episode starts, and it's this part, you see a bride coming down the aisle. And I noticed on my rewatch, they were very particular with the camera shots to show certain people. Like, you got to see Miss Fitzgibbon. She's in there crying. You see Dougal and Colum. And the one thing that I think I noticed that I didn't pay attention the first time I watched, I was like, why is Dougal not dressed more formally, or, kind of similarly to Colum and to everybody else? Because Dougal had on the tartan. Everybody else had on like the formal dress, the formal coat suits, and all this other stuff. I didn't think anything of it. And then of course they tell us earlier, what was it, the day before, 2 days before, something,
right, the day before,
and you start to see Ellen doing her preparations. You see her doing her walk, being approached by McRannock with his little gift. I was watching this and I was like, the fact that Ellen probably could have had her own pick of whoever she wanted.
Yep.
Out of all the unwed men. Like, yeah, I get it. You got Malcolm Grant. Malcolm is so devoted to you, blah, 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 blah. But McRannock probably could have been just as decent to her. I mean, we don't know. All we know is that he was Dougal's choice for her, for the Jacobite cause, blah, 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 blah. But I was sitting there the whole episode listening to all of these different accounts of, people declaring their love for Ellen. And Moira Grant later on when Ellen does the poem and she takes offense to it.
Yeah.
It's like, Malcolm has had his heart set on you since he was 7. First of all, that's the first problem.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a childhood crush and you're trying to apply it to an adult. Like,
yep.
I know we talk about the way that they do things romantically in this century and in these times, like, most people, they fall in love at first sight or, whatever the case may be. But it was like, as much as I like Malcolm Grant as a character, I do. He's a good man. I understand everything. I was just to the point where I was like, I really hope she is not going through this wedding. Because before we find out all the stuff that happens, I was like, I really hope this is not her. Like, is she gonna leave him at the altar? Like, I thought it was about to be a Whitley moment and Wayne moment. Like, Brian's gonna come in and be like, "No, I want to be with
baby,
you,
please."
It could have been something like that, but yeah, it was just Ellen's whole demeanor that whole time. You just look and she just seems so resigned to her fate.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is not the Ellen I want to look at for a whole another season. Yeah. Like you never in the main show, that she and Brian eloped, but you never hear about the circumstances. Like we were trying to figure out, okay, so what happened? Was she with Malcolm? Did she end up leaving him? Did they not go through with it? Like everything at the beginning of this episode kind of points to she's about to go through with this wedding. But she looks so sad and so
dejected.
Ellen.
Like
she didn't look like herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so how are they about to play this out? Now, I wasn't expecting it to play out the way that it did up until Dougal was in the damn thing screwing with the lady's maid and Moira Grant comes in. And when she said her name, I said, oh, because this is the same wife that Dougal had his fit about when she died in the main show, when he was dating Gayless and he got word of his wife dying. This is the wife.
Mm-hmm. That's what
I had to look it up.
I thought so, but I wasn't
pointed
sure
her name out so clearly.
Yeah.
I looked it up and I was like, oh.
Oh yeah, that was the same woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As soon as her reaction to him wasn't one of like, she wasn't flabbergasted, she wasn't clutching her pearls. I was like, oh yeah, they gonna get.
Oh yeah, me too. And I just figured they would get married later, though. I didn't think it would be them who got married. I wasn't putting that together at all. I just thought that they were going to, have some fun. And somehow that ends up being his wife.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was like, okay, so
that was a surprise.
I was like, somehow
but let me go back though to right, and she's so like she wasn't taken aback with him doing those things, with the girl up there, but you got all
she was
right, but you got offended when we playing a bachelorette game.
Over
because it had to do with
about your brother. I was like,
that let you know that somebody wasn't under her spell. Somebody knew she really didn't want that boy. The sister knew,
which is true. We forget Ellen is lying.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was like, ma'am, you didn't have to come to this party. Now, me and the sisters having a good time, and you ruined it. Well, that's how he felt. I wasn't talking about him.
Did I say you?
We're just drinking.
Word and I love the fact that Jocasta got on her ass. Jocasta was like, hold up.
Right.
She was like, we're over here trying to have a good time. Ain't nobody thinking about your brother's looks. But if we were.
Right.
We sisters, we can fight. Ain't nobody else come for you, boo.
Let me tell you. Okay. So I know I say Jocasta gets on my nerves sometimes. But when I say she stepped up in this episode for her sister.
Yes.
Right. And all it took was an apology from Ellen. A sincere apology.
Sincere apology. Exactly.
I didn't know what was going on. She was like, I know all these other things. Dad taught me all these other things. I understand how to run a household and all this other stuff. But the other things I didn't know, because Ellen was so dead set about getting married. Why would she take the time to learn these things or to learn what makes a marriage good or what makes one happy? She's just like, oh, okay. If she's like, if she's thinking the way the men think, oh, it's a good match.
Right.
You're going to go to this household and be rich and be a high lady or
He's
whatever.
not gonna
You
hurt
should be
you.
happy.
Yeah.
And now that she's on the other side of it, she sees, oh, okay, you know what? There is a little bit more to that. Like, and we saw that a couple of episodes ago with her and Jocasta. She was like, look, I didn't realize that this takes so much away from us as women.
Yeah.
And when she said that apology to Jocasta, and Jocasta was like, so what is this, a trick? She was like, no, I just really realized I owe you an apology. And then she also apologized to Janet. Janet was like, I'm good. I like what
I'm good. I like my husband right now.
Yeah. But that's the other thing about Ellen that's dumb is like, you clearly chose to ignore what women go through in marriage if you didn't understand. Because I thought that was the main reason she didn't want to get married. It's because she wanted to make sure she picked the perfect person for herself. Because, like, you can tell Jocasta has been miserable with her sick, sweat, nasty, whatever she got going on over there. And she probably looks at her brother and his wife and how they react to each other. So it's like, I feel like I feel like it was more about her choice being taken away. That was the issue, more than her not really knowing what to do.
I think also if you think about the like, she mentioned her mother when she was talking to Malcolm's uncle, and she was talking about how her mother was a good wife to her dad. So it also could be that, it seems like Red Jacob loved his wife, maybe that's what she was holding out for. She was like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to go through all this other stuff. I can just wait for this.
Yeah.
Or maybe she just didn't want to get married, period, because all the conversations that we heard her having with Red Jacob, it was never about, I want to marry for love. She was like, I don't want to get married.
Yeah.
She was like, we got two of them married off already. We're good.
Right. It's not like all the girls need to be married to save our lives. But then you find out, yes, it was, because Red Jacob squandered the money.
Right. But I think also too, the other thing with Ellen is, and this is probably naive on her part, maybe at some point she really thought that her dad would somehow defy tradition and name her Laird or put her in charge.
Probably.
Her as a successor. Because
had he not died.
For all conversations that they had, he made it seem like that was his choice.
Yeah.
He very clearly made it known that he had a preference for Ellen. Like, everybody knows it. The kids know it. All the clans people know it. They knew that Ellen was his favorite. So maybe somewhere in her brain, however little part that was, maybe she thought, okay, you know what? Maybe Dad will leave me in charge. Now, she
probably had that intention, and because it's not like they knew he was going to die. He just, it was sudden. So he might have actually had that intention, which is also very sad.
Yeah.
Because you could have put it in writing, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you could have been like the catalyst for change.
Yeah.
But, also, if you think about some of the things that we've heard about him through this season, that might not have stuck either, because Ned even says, he was like, your father was not well liked in these parts. Like, he was the Laird, but nobody really cared for him.
It's crazy.
So, he probably could have said, okay, well, I'm leaving Ellen in charge. And his people probably would have revolted, or whatever it is they do in the clans when they don't agree, because they would have been like, okay, we really don't like you now, because now you're trying to put a woman in charge of us. How dare you?
Yeah.
Just
so dumb.
But at least she got her apology off, and like from then on, her and Jocasta were tight. And I loved it, because Jocasta is the one who actually technically kind of saved her. because Brian,
Yeah.
I don't know what Brian was
Yep.
thinking, and I need to know what it is about the black hair that people keep saying we've never seen hair as black as you. Like, what is it about the black hair?
So what I was thinking about that is that like the red and the black were kind of both things that happened, but they were still so like,
Few and
oh,
far
this is
between.
so different, still like that maybe they
Right,
had
because
a lot of brown, deep browns and
they
redishes,
when
but
you
no
do, you
black.
see a lot of browns. You see a
Mhm.
lot
Yeah.
of browns, and who are red, they're red, and then it slowly comes into brunettes and stuff.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one has jet black hair.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, I used to dye my hair jet black because I thought my hair was black until
Mhm.
I used to dye my hair jet black. And then I was like, oh,
And he's like,
that is a big difference
Mhm.
between real actual black hair and so technically our hair ain't really black when we think it's black typically.
Yeah.
So I guess his was so black that it's just like this is
Yeah.
wild. Like, but where would that even come from, I wonder? Because his dad is just as red.
Right.
And Davina ain't super dark.
Right.
I mean, she dark, but she ain't jet black.
Yeah.
So
So I don't know, but they mentioned it also when he was there for the little games that they did after Red Jacob died.
mm-hmm.
When the quote unquote suitors were giving him a tough time, they were like, who are you and where are you from? We
With
don't
all
we
that
don't see
black
here that
hair.
black around in these parts, you know. But yeah, when he actually makes the plan, and we got to go back to him and Murta, because Dina and I were Dina was texting me the whole time she was watching the episode, and she was like, they don't deserve Murta.
They don't.
Murta, let me tell you. And I said,
mm-mm,
I know Michelle
they
got some
don't.
thoughts, but Murta also coming in the clutch,
Just being there at the right time.
right. Sitting there,
Yes.
he's talking to Brian because Brian is still upset because of Ellen's breakup. And Murta is like, okay, hold up. Let's think this through. Let's be smart about this. He was like, so don't think about what she said. What were her eyes telling you? And this is something I was like, yeah, I can imagine older Murta saying something like this. I really can. And he was like, her eyes it didn't match. Her eyes were saying one thing, her voice was saying another. He was like, and
Yep.
what does your heart tell you? That I would love her for the rest of my life. And Murta was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Murta's like, yep, I understand that feeling. And you get to like, Brian really gives him an apology, man. Like, look, Murta, I'm so sorry. Murta's like, okay, you know what? He was like, I understand this, but let me tell you, she loves you. She has
Yeah.
like anybody can look at her and see. And I was like, yeah, which is why it's so weird that nobody else is paying attention, because every time he's there, her gaze is there. But okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody,
especially the I don't even know if it was the last episode or the other episode when they were in public. Like you can
Raymar,
clearly see y'all want each other.
sitting there touching hands and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But while they're sitting there talking, here comes the gallows glass again after them. Now, this is what I thought during those scenes. I was like, these are the hired assassins. These are the ones that everybody's so scared of, because Brian and Murta made quick work of them.
The end.
Right.
I will say they were also kind of overweight and old.
But again, these are the assassins that everyone is scared of. Like, these are the ones that when Colum threatened Dougal straightened the fuck up and was like, oh, let me
did.
sing about all my confessions.
He did. But they ain't had them young bucks to fight.
Yeah.
Them young crazy bucks, baby.
Because first of all, you let them get away from you the first time.
Yep.
You had a simple target. If you had been half the assassin you should have been, then that first time you fired that arrow at him, you should have hit. You should have hit your target. Brian should have gone down. That should be the end of everything. What kind of assassins are you? I mean, you shot what? 3 arrows at him and missed before he took off running. And then, of course, Murta intervened and saved him. And then you come back. he throws an axe at one of you, which I was like, when I saw the axe, I said, yeah, they're not going to fare too well with this because Brian is an ace at that axe throwing.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets that guy, he comes over, stabs him. Murta is over here fighting with the other guy. When he cut that man across his hamstring,
Ooh, I was like, oh, he's not getting up.
Then he cuts his throat. Then you have the third assassin.
And it was
just out there. Then you have the third assassin who Brian gets with a bow and arrow. And
talk about how he was the worst assassin of them all. Because how you take your attention off the person you're supposed to be killing? You ain't watching your surroundings. You don't see. Oh, come on now. He shouldn't have been caught up like that.
For the one that you look, this is not the Murta is not even the one you're getting paid to kill. But that's the one you actually hit and injure. When Murta took that arrow to the leg, I said, "Oh, Michelle gonna be pissed."
I know, because he
like, damn it, he get hurt.
But that's okay. We have seen him fight in the future, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But you know what? They do not deserve him.
No.
And I'm mad that he didn't have a love of his own.
Yeah.
Well, for a little bit, he had Jocasta, but like the stuff he was saying to Ellen when he gave her that gift, I could have cried.
I know, it was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most romantic thing. And then she already knew. She was like, "Oh, we'll keep this to ourselves."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She knew this man is coming with his whole heart.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like,
yeah.
Oh, Murta.
But yeah,
and that's why
Brian,
he take care of JB.
Oh, that baby boy.
Yeah. Yeah. But when Brian had that third assassin and he was asking him, like, who hired you? Who hired you? I think at the end of the last episode, we weren't sure who hired. And then we got a comment on our YouTube video for the last episode where someone said, I think it was Colum because of what he said to Ellen. He was like, yeah, I won't harm him or cause him harm from this point on. I said, yep. You know, them MacKenzies, they sneaky with their words. Because even in this episode, when Ellen goes to talk to Colum, she's very clever with her words too. She's very careful with the things that she says to him.
Yeah.
But you know, when the assassin does realize, you know, when he does reveal that it's Colum, and Murta was like, I didn't think they disliked you so much that they would actually spend money to kill you. Like, what is
money they ain't got?
But Colum was like, oh no, I'm going to pay this money to guarantee I will get the grant money later on. I'm going to make sure. He was trying to eliminate all obstacles. But unfortunately, you know, like you said, the Gallaglass, they, you know, their reputation does not precede them.
And the thing is, you know what, also, because like they were a little chunky and a little old. I do wonder if their old school, you know, coming up reputation was so fierce that they grew up hearing about the Gallaglass, and that's why it scared Dougal so bad. Because I don't think these are the Gallaglass bodies that people remember.
But you know, the other thing too, it could be that as assassins, as paid assassins, maybe they're a little more sneaky. Like they come, you know, find you at night while you're asleep, or they attack you when you're not, you know, when you're not paying attention.
Yeah, they're not really paying attention.
Right. And like I said, if it had been anybody else other than Brian, they probably would have been successful. But we already know Brian is a skilled fighter.
Right.
He pays attention to his surroundings. And then also because of who he is, being Simon Fraser's bastard, he kind of has to be like, okay, you know what? I got to pay attention to my surroundings, because he knows people don't like his dad. And they may take out whatever that dislike for his dad is on him just out of, you know, spite or whatever. So,
which is very sad.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, after that, Brian is like, okay, you know what? I got to go get my woman. I gotta figure this out. Now, him knocking the dude out while dude is peeing so he could get the Grant tartan. I was like, okay, that's clever, but it was so weird because I was like, I don't like you in these colors. And not only that, where did you put your Fraser tartan? Because if that guy wakes up and there's Fraser tartan next to him, he's gonna. So I was worried about that. Thankfully, that didn't come into play. We didn't have to worry about that. But the funny thing was when he sneaks into the castle and he kind of, makes this makeshift gift like he's gonna, give it to Ellen from Malcolm. And who is the person he comes into contact with? It's Jocasta. And Jocasta's like, I've seen you before. I saw you at Braemar. You were with Myrta and you had on Fraser tartan. Brian's looking like, oh shit, I'm caught. But luckily, Jocasta is, like I said, she's in a very good mood. She and her sister have made up. They're being friendly again. And then when she hears what's going on, and she takes him to Ellen's bedchamber, and Mrs. Fitz is like, he gotta go. She said, no, you need to hear this
He
because
needs to
Colin
say
did
this.
She was like, let him say what he came to say. She was like, he risked his life to be here. Let Ellen hear it. Because at this point, she's probably like, if Ellen still says, go away, okay, at least I did my part. You said your part. She's made her decision. Let's go. Thankfully, all they had to say was Colin tried to have him kill. Excuse me, what? Oh, guess what? I don't have to keep my promise now. I don't have to go through with this wedding. Because I really think that if Brian had not shown up, if she hadn't found out about Colin, I really think she would have gone through with that wedding. Because she is about protecting her clan.
Right, she would have.
But when she went in to talk to Colin, I felt a smidgen of empathy for him because when she walked in, I think that's the first time when he sees her, that's the first look of genuine pleasure that I've seen on his face. Like he looked really happy to see her.
Yeah.
Even the way he spoke her name. He was like, oh, I'm happy. This is my sister. And then, of course, he starts talking about the clan stuff. And I was like, yeah, he's just happy because he's about to get what he wants. He's about to make sure that his clan is, out of debt. He's going to be okay. And you could just I was like, are you so that out of touch with your sister who you were so close to before all of this stuff happened that you are not reading her face, that you did not see the displeasure on her face, that you didn't hear the tone of voice when she said, is there anything else you wish to burden me with? Like, she already knows. And you can see his face kind of go, ooh. And then he was like, no. She tooted that eyebrow up. I said, he needs to pay attention to her face. Because you're sitting here saying all this stuff. Oh yeah, this is what we're going to show them for our loyalty, and we do this for our love of you. And you could see she wanted to go off.
Yep.
She wanted to go off, and she wanted to cry, but she held her own. She was just like,
and for him to say that, and then and I hope we can share with each other one day. I'm like, you did her dirt.
Like we can, I hope that we're still close as we've been all these years, because she was like, why would you want me to, you're not going to be worried about another man's wife, right? He was like, Ellen, you're my sister. And I was like, yeah, you should have said that shit to her a couple of episodes ago when you were like, oh yeah, you're going to stay, you're going to be living the life that you're used to by our good graces. You weren't sounding like, oh, you're my dear beloved sister then.
And how close we are.
I was like, and then she was like, well, let this be the last thing that you have to do in my name or for love of me.
Or for my love of me, baby.
And then she said, well, I need to go now and prepare for my future. I said, she's giving you an opportunity to loosen that noose from around your neck
Yep.
And you are so prideful and you think you know what you're doing and you're the smartest of the bunch and everything that you don't even see it.
Yep.
Like, you don't see the change in her body language. You don't see the look on her face. You don't see the way when she turned around, the way she looked at the room, like, this will be the last time I look at this room.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
Paying
it was a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of that pride and also anxiety, of what's to come. And like he just smile and nod. Because the thing is that for whatever reason, the men in this time, they gonna always refer back or defer back to women not knowing anything and women not being smart enough and not have minds of their own and all this stuff. And it gets them in trouble every freaking time.
Just
I mean,
once, I want somebody, maybe Ned, maybe whoever, I want someone to sit Colin and Dougal down and say, y'all do realize it was Ellen's idea for y'all to split the lairdship in this way so that you wouldn't lose the clan.
yep.
Ellen came up with that. I just want them to understand that she has kept them in the life of luxury that they're
Right.
used to.
Right. Oh,
Because
man.
I want to see the look on their face, but that's okay because Colin got embarrassed because, of course, she leaves.
Yep.
She dips. And I just want to know what that conversation was like because Malcolm Grant is the one who finds out. So who told who
Yeah.
to tell Malcolm? Because Malcolm is not supposed to see Ellen. So what, did he try to go to her chambers again, like before the ceremony, like he did at the other ceremony? Like, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I just wanted to see you before. Bruh, that's probably why.
Maybe. Because that's a good point. I did wonder, like, how did he find out before them?
Yeah. Unless they told him and he was the one that said something and that was the part that they came in on. Because it's not like he was telling them.
Yeah.
And then when you could see kind of the gears turning in Colum's head because he's like, okay, if Ellen is not here, what can we do? And then when they walk out and he tells Ned, he was like, go find my brother. I said, oh, here it comes.
Malcolm, big Malcolm came. That I like his character. He ruthless, but I like his character. He was like, we either having a head or we having a hand. Y'all pick which one you want.
Right.
Baby. I screamed.
Because Colin was like, okay, well, I'm already married. I can't do it. So
Right.
who does that leave? And you know,
Dougal.
I kind of laughed when Jocasta told Ellen, yeah, so we are gonna have a wedding today. Dougal is gonna have to marry Maura. And she was like, well, I wish him and Maura the best. I like I just wanted to see Dougal's face when Colin told him, okay, because Ellen decided to tuck tail and run, now you're going to have to do your duty to the clan and marry Mara Grant because you know Dougal was cussing her ass out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
at the same time, you know Dougal was probably looking like, okay, you know what? I reap what I sow.
Basically.
Because if I hadn't opened my mouth,
yep,
none of this would be happening.
And I tried to marry her off
That part.
to somebody I wanted to marry her off to. So how does that feel, sucker? You got to marry
now
somebody
you got to be married off. But right. However, it's not fair though. They had sparks. So
it is. I'm on that spark right now.
Let me tell you.
So it would have been best if it was someone he really, really didn't like, but he's like really enjoying himself right now with her.
Right. Yeah.
He is that. Let me tell you, that mess was funny because she's like, okay, so shall we get to it? Consummating the marriage. He was like,
no,
like I'm eating and drinking. She was like, take me to your bed chamber. When they get in there, she's so matter of fact with everything. But I told Dina, I said, I fell out when she was trying to figure out, okay, so do you want it this way? She leaned back on the bed, like, okay. And he was like, you don't
or you don't want to see me.
She said, it took me all day to get in this dress. I'm not gonna do this again. She was like, you gonna get it this way.
To get back in.
Or do you want it so that we don't have to look at each other? When she turned around and tooted her butt up, girl, I fell out laughing. Oh my God. I was like, you know what? I said, at this point, if Dougal is not at the very least intrigued by this woman, then he doesn't deserve her because all these other plain women that he's been with,
ladies in waiting and shit.
Right. And Mara is like, oh, okay, let's do this. You want it this way or do you want it this way? And then when we see them having sex later, she's very clearly getting hers. She's getting off. And he's like, oh my God, what happened? Did I hurt you? I was like, oh, yeah, this is the 1700s. This is when men didn't realize that women could orgasm.
Yep.
I said, oh, well, I think she's about to teach him a couple of things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, so you didn't? And I was like, that is so perfect because it's never us that asks that question. So
she was like, you didn't? He was like, no. She was like, oh, then our business isn't done yet. And she starts like,
oh no, scoot on up here. I'm gonna show you how to get it.
He is not, we should not feel sorry for him.
No, I don't feel sorry for him at all.
You know what? But this might just be a one-time thing for her. She might be like, okay, let's get this over with. Because I mean, at that point, like, did you see the awkwardness when they were getting married? Because they didn't know whether to hold hands, they didn't know whether to touch, they didn't know whether to kiss each other, and they're just looking at each other and looking away. I was just cracking like Dougal.
But you know what that was? That was also some chemistry they didn't know how to deal with.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because she watched, she saw what he was working with earlier, and he kind of liked her spark. So they was like, oh, I don't know. And after this episode, I don't think she's gonna say I'm done.
No, child, because she worked out, and then she's probably pregnant because I think that was her initial thought was like, let me get a baby in me, get this thing going, and so we can get on past this point because, once she's pregnant, that's an heir,
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
honey,
and she having a good time.
I tell Hanako, I'm like, oh, she done had her a few. And he didn't even consider whether she was a virgin or not or nothing. He didn't care. He just went on with the progress. I mean,
at this point, it's not like he had a choice.
Right, that's true.
Like he told her, she was like, look, you like lassies, I like laddies. What's the problem? He was like, look, it's more to that than this. He was like, I didn't wake up this morning thinking this was gonna be my wedding day. Yeah. And she was like, don't make it awkward. You just you overthink
right.
it.
Well, he probably awkward because he said I didn't take a good bath from earlier. I didn't know.
Because that's the first thing I thought about. I'm like, he was up in Hildy or whatever her name was.
Right, that's what I was thinking of too. When he said, "I didn't expect to be getting married today."
No, but he probably
my bath ain't due till tomorrow.
No, he probably did a wash up real quick when Colin called him in there and said, "You're getting married today," and he was probably like, "Excuse me, what?" Yeah, you're getting married. So Ellen took off, and in order for us to not die, somebody has to get married. And unfortunately, of the rest of the MacKenzies that are here, you are the only one that's unwed. Because I mean, can you imagine if Jocasta or Janet weren't married? Then it would have been one of them marrying Malcolm Grant, which Jocasta probably wouldn't have had a problem with, because at least Malcolm Grant is young. He's close to their age. He's a man of power. He's not an reasonable. Old man. Yeah, he would be reasonable. Right. She probably still would have been like, but at least it would have been a little bit of a better match than whatever old man she's married to now.
Yeah.
What you laughing at in the background?
Girl, she just got hers and was like, hold on, slide up. I'm gonna get you ready.
That's too funny.
That's the funniest thing I ever see.
Okay, so we got to talk about this escape because Brian and Ellen are actually still in the castle.
We don't need to.
They're disguised as servants. Ellen has her hair covered with a bonnet. And Jocasta and Mrs. Fitz come to tell them, okay, hey, the coast is clear. They're at the wedding feast now. You should be able to get off the grounds with no problems. So we see this really emotional goodbye between her and Mrs. Fitz, which explains to me a lot because, Mrs. Fitz, we know her from Castle Leoch. Like, she stayed at Castle Leoch. We didn't know until the beginning of the show that she was Ellen's handmaid. And so I was like, well, why did she stay at Leoch and didn't go with Ellen? Well, this explains why. Because one, she couldn't let them know she was complicit in Ellen's leaving. And then two, she's probably like, okay, this man don't have nothing. Y'all are gonna have nothing.
Nothing.
So where would I go? What would I do? How would I
Yep.
survive? And at this point, she's married. She probably has children. She's got to think about her family. So
Yeah.
you see the emotional goodbye with them, and then you see the emotional goodbye with Ellen and Jocasta. And that did make me more sad, because now when I think about the first time Jocasta sees Jamie as an adult, and she says, I really miss Ellen, I miss my sister. Now I feel like, okay, yes, I can see, I can feel that. Because before I was like, don't say you miss your sister. Yeah, you
Like, where this come from?
right, exactly. But I felt it in this one. Like Jocasta was like, okay, you know what? Somebody's gonna get their happiness. And if
Yep.
it can't be me, it might as well be you. You know? But and then of course they get ready to leave. They take the corridor. And I don't understand why they didn't just go through the way they usually go through that kitchen, or maybe they were on their way to the kitchen. But Malcolm Grant, who has been in the wedding feast seething and complaining and griping to his uncle, he comes down the hall, he bumps smack dab into them,
Looking
and
like a little hobbit.
he's like, you've returned to me. I'm like, do you not see how she's dressed?
Yeah. And do you not see her with another man?
Now, this is
But
the thing that got me, because I was telling Dina, I said, for you to sit here and just start all of a sudden going off on Brian, talking about, oh, he's nothing, you're choosing him over me, he's not worth anything. I was like, you don't even know who this dude
I don't
is.
even know him. Get the fuck out of here.
So, I mean, I understand you're upset, but obviously, if she is clinging to this man's hand, obviously this man means something like substantial to her, because we've never seen her so much as hold your hand. Period. Right? Because
Yep.
I don't think I've seen it. But when he starts getting mad, and again, his uncle's words are probably in his head. He was like, okay, well, you can do the revenge. Why don't you find out what she holds most dear and take it from her? Now, I don't know what made him think he was gonna be able to take on Brian, because Brian already stands like almost a whole head taller than you.
Child.
And Brian obviously came there prepared to fight. But when he pulled that dagger out, I just paused the TV. I shook my head. I said, okay, so at least we're about to find out what happened to Malcolm, because I already knew. I was like, yeah, he's about to die. He's about to die. And I
I'm gonna
didn't
let you
know.
finish.
I know. I didn't know what was going to happen, because I thought that maybe he accidentally stabbed Ellen and that was what caused it. And then, seeing him kind of swinging, real wildly. And I forgot he had been drinking, so he was not clear. He was not sober. He starts swinging at Brian, and Brian is trying to, like, look, dude, just let us go. She obviously don't want you. Just let us go. Leave us alone. Let us go. Whatever.
For her sake, just let it go.
Right. She gets in front, and he almost strikes her. Brian pushes her out the way. He gets cut. Then he tries to stab Brian. Brian grabs the dagger and plunges it into his chest. And I was just like, okay, this is going to be difficult. This is going to cause some problems. But it depends on how they left his body, because Brian pulls him out of the hallway. Yeah. Now, the way they could have done it so that they won't have any issues, Malcolm is already distraught. He's upset. He's been upstaged by his fiance. They really could have sat him down, put his hands back on the dagger, and made it look like he did that to himself.
Yep.
Which that's we don't know. They could have done that. I don't know. But
yeah, we don't know.
I did feel bad for Malcolm, because I was like, you know what? All he wanted to do was just love this woman. And because she was in a position where she didn't get to choose, and I know that hurt for him to hear it, but she told him, she was like, I never made any promises to you. She was like,
yeah, but you know what? Okay, I'm sorry. I know what this show is called and who it's for. Yeah. But that was still, this is wrong, and wrong.
Because
where we going to start off with? She did. You didn't have to say you ain't made no promises, but you didn't have to act so endearing to the man, like you cared.
But I mean, she did
I
say that
mean,
she
no,
cared
I'm not talking
about
about
him.
care like that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that you care,
Yeah.
like you were going to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have been a little standoffish, a little bit, a little like I'm not apprehensive. So when this came, he was like, "Oh, you know, she was showing signs." No, you yes, you can change your mind all you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can say no. However, y'all still got to understand that this man, the sister said he's loved you since he was 5, pretty much.
He was
So he
misguided.
is absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Let's roll reverse here. If this was Brian
Mm-hmm.
and she left you at all, you would be devastated too. And his uncle was just his uncle. He was around the wrong person, feeding into him.
Yep.
You got to get revenge.
Yeah.
Because if it was someone else, they were like, dude, it happens. You'll find you another woman you'll love. You'll remember her, but you will really fall in love with someone else. But
Mm-hmm.
Like
no,
an adult love,
his
not some
hateful,
childish.
right?
Right.
His hateful uncle is the one that really causes death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say this too, as far as Ellen, you're right. I do agree. She didn't have to lead him on the way that she did because she was very amenable to him. She was very pleasant. She was
Yeah.
very affectionate in her own way.
On weight, yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like maybe for her, because at the time she didn't see another path forward. She really thought she was going to have to marry this man. And rather than start that marriage off with any animosity, any kind of bad feelings, she did what she did with Brian. She got it out the way. She gave Colin her word, I won't see him again. So maybe in her mind, she was just preparing for what that life was going to be like. Like I said this a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, but she could
I
have
think
wrote him a letter.
if it wasn't for Brian, if she had never met Brian, I think she and Malcolm could have actually had a good marriage. I
Yeah.
think
Right. Mm-hmm.
she could have learned to have loved him, and I think that he would have treated her, he would have treated her right. He would have treated her with respect, and I think that could have been a successful marriage. So maybe in her mind, because she already knew she was going to have to marry this man, maybe she was just like, okay, you know what? Let me just play this part. This is something I'm going to have to do. This is something I'm going to have to get used to. And I don't know if Brian hadn't have shown up and told her what happened, then Malcolm would have never known about Brian. He would have never known that she didn't feel that way about him. Back then, these men, they didn't care whether or not the women loved them the way that they did. He did, obviously, but most of these men
Yeah.
don't. They're just
He
like, you
did.
are literally here to spread your legs and have an air for me and wait on me hand and foot.
Yeah.
And it was, even if you even think about the way Malcolm's uncle talked to her, when he was like, yeah, Malcolm talks about your mind and your, the things that sets Ellen so different from the other women. Those are the things that Malcolm liked. And I really feel like she was playing her part because she knew what was expected of her. And I think she had every intention of going through with that. Now, her finding out about Colin's betrayal, at that point, she's like, all bets are off. I don't care, because you know what? Y'all didn't care what y'all were doing to me. Y'all didn't care if y'all were hurting me in order to get what you want. So at this point, I'm about to get what I want. And I just
right.
really like that's what it was.
I mean, it
And
was, but she
had to
still could
get
have wrote a
hurt.
letter or something. She could have wrote him a letter
And you know what? She probably
and say
would
how he's
have.
such a nice guy.
She probably
Like,
would have once she got away.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's too late because the
But I mean,
bitterness in
she
his
didn't have,
the bitterness. You are stood up at the altar. Like you still. I still feel bad for him. I
know,
still
and I
feel
do.
bad
I
for him.
really do feel bad for him.
For them
I
to
feel
have
sorry.
this magical love, this man was destroyed. So maybe that's why Jamie has his name.
Claire and Jamie, hello. How many lives have? Yeah, I just.
But this one was really close because he was like an actually innocent person. It would have been best if we made him bad, and then we would have been like, okay, he died, he deserves it. But he really cared about her. Like he cared about when they did the if you a virgin or not. He was worried about her then. It was just everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also get the feeling that he was, for lack of a better term from back then, he was kind of incelish. Because I feel like he had this crush on her since he was a kid. And then he clearly wasn't getting, women was not knocking on his door, even with his little money, his little hobbit self. He didn't have no whole bunch of women jumping after him. You could
Or
tell.
it could have been that he did, and he was just so set on Ellen
Closed
McKenzie.
off.
But then
I
he
think
would,
he was
but
closed
that's
off.
true. But they would have wanted him for his money. I feel like they would have more
Yeah,
wanted him
but
for his money.
he couldn't see past her.
Yeah, because
So
he
they could have been
definitely,
women who was willing and
yeah,
able, but he can't.
that's true.
It was always
Ellen.
and he couldn't get past
Yeah.
He
that.
needed to.
And now he doesn't even have a chance to get past that.
Well, Brian did tell him to stop.
He did. He did.
He should have stopped. He knew he wasn't doing no
He
damage.
did, but you know, he been drinking. He been drinking.
Right.
I hope they
And
didn't make it
And
look like a
and like they
suicide though.
said, he wouldn't have, even if he had let them go, he wouldn't have let that go, because going back to
no,
what
his
Lord
heart is
Lovat
broken.
said, you know, about a man's wounded pride, you know, I don't
Well,
think
then the uncle wouldn't have helped. I think
no.
he would have been okay, but not with the uncle like that.
I was
He
actually
wouldn't have.
surprised that the uncle even allowed them to have another marriage to replace it.
The uncle
Honestly.
was just like, look,
This is a business arrangement.
y'all
Right,
are
but like
gonna
after he told her he would rip her heart out, I just was like,
I think he still may try, but right now we need to get this somebody get married today.
yeah,
somebody getting
Okay,
married.
yeah,
somebody, and
yeah.
then we'll worry about killing her later. But
We'll
right
murder her
now,
later.
somebody getting married
He
today.
was
I
worried
guess
about
that
the
was also
embarrassment first, because
right. I was about to
and
say saving face. Yeah,
the crazy thing was, because she actually had on the dress that Ellen was gonna wear.
yeah.
So, and she had that heavy veil over her face, so nobody saw her walking down the aisle. Nobody saw when she, when she pulled the veil up. Nobody saw who it was. So when the preacher said, "Will the groom stand up and join his bride?" and Dougal stood up, you heard everybody like, "Oh!" It's like everybody is thinking, "Wait, Dougal's about to marry his sister? What is going on?" Like, people were confused because nobody knew what was going on.
And then Jocasta's like, "Calm down, it's okay, we
Right.
good. Just hold on, we good. Don't panic."
That mess was funny. But okay, so we have Malcolm dead, Brian and Ellen. They continue on. They go back to the little, what they call it, a bothy? The
Buffy,
little I call it a hobbit house.
Oh yeah, it looked like a
That,
little.
yeah, that Myrta's in. And they basically tell him what happened, because when Myrta sees Brian, he's like, "Oh, okay, he's safe." And then when Ellen comes in, he was like, "Oh, there's a whole bunch of people pissed off at
Are we
Castalia."
safe?
He was like, "If you're here," and then they tell him that Malcolm is dead. He was like, "Yeah, we might have a little heat on us because Malcolm is dead." Yeah. But again, depending on what they did with him, they could, because a lot of people saw that Malcolm was upset at the feast. It could very easily be explained that he was so distraught that he killed himself, which, even if that is the case, Malcolm's uncle is still going to come after Ellen, because he's going to be like, "It's your fault that he did this."
Yeah.
So either way it goes, they fucked up.
Yeah.
They
and then
he's
going to be immediately be layered now, right? Because Malcolm's dead.
And
so that explains why why Malcolm was involved with the gold later. It's the old Malcolm that's involved with the gold later with Bug.
Yep. Because he was the one that's the Jacobite. He was the one that, yeah. But the conversations that they have with Myrta in this Bothy, we kind of referenced it earlier. I'm with Dina. They don't deserve Myrta. They really don't. And I'm not saying, true love. I get it. I get it. Y'all love each other. Blah,
but
blah,
their
blah,
love
blah.
shouldn't cause other people's pain.
I get it. But
not really.
Myrta, he has a moment where he wakes up the next morning. Brian is outside cutting logs and Ellen is inside. and they start having a conversation, and he tells Ellen that he has a gift for her. And it's the boar's what you call them, the tusks. The boar tusk bracelets that we see in season 1 of Outlander that Jamie gives to Claire, or that Jenny gives to Claire, that we find out that Myrtle was the one who gave them to Ellen. So this is the moment where he gives her the bracelets, and she's looking at it. She's like, okay, I got all these extravagant gifts from these men who love me. She was like, I can't take this. And he was like, look, I had planned on giving them to you as a wedding gift. And then she looks at him, and I feel like
he was like, from your husband, not as an outside source wedding gift.
And I feel like that was probably, I don't know, the way that she reacted, I feel like that was probably the first time she understood the depth of Myrta's feelings for her. Like, I'm sure Brian probably mentioned it to her when they first got together that, oh yeah, Myrta has a thing for you. I don't think she realized the depth of it until that moment.
Yeah.
And then at that point, she really treated it sacred. She was like, okay, this will be between you and me. And she was like, and I will accept these as a token of our friendship. And then he says what is probably one of the most beautiful and saddest things, because she says something about his happiness, wanting him to be happy. And he said, just let your happiness, you and Brian's happiness, let that be my happiness, and I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so beautiful and so sad at the same time, because these are the two people that Myrta loves the most in the world.
The most.
And he was like, look, if I can't have this happiness, let me be a part of yours. Let me be a part of yours and his, and just be a part of it. And now it's like that makes his devotion to Jamie even more poignant.
Even more.
His sacrifice, and
it's more understandable how we were talking about why he talked more about her than Brian, because he probably, this whole, like, what is it, 13 years that they have together, her and Brian, that he's probably super devoted to her the whole time.
Yeah.
Because he saw the compassion. He saw it on her face that she realized he's in love with her. He can't have her. And that her loving Brian has hurt him to his core. Brian loving her. And she's like, oh, this, okay, I got to take care of this man. That whole scene, it's just mind blowing. The writing on that was just mind blowing, because I was just like,
it was beautiful.
That's so many layers and so much depth that, oh my gosh.
And then it just sums it up. So, like, even like you said, even if this was the end of this, like, it fits to why he's so, like, dedicated to the family.
Yeah.
Because at first I didn't know how this was about to come out to be.
Right.
But now I see.
Right.
I mean, and he's still grumpy, but I understand, because you happy, but you not fully happy.
Yeah.
And I can honestly take this as their ending, like left on a cliffhanger, as their ending a lot more than Julia and Henry.
Yeah,
because I feel like, okay, we kind of know, we basically know what's going to happen. We don't know some more little intricate pieces, but we know specifically, like, they're going to have kids, they're going to be in love for at least this amount of time. I would have been okay with this as their ending more.
And we also know that Brian never gets over her, because even in season 7 of Outlander, when Brianna comes back to find Roger, she actually gets a moment to speak to her grandfather, and he has never gotten over Ellen, which for me, again, I think that's the only thing that makes it like, yes, I'm upset that Myrta got hurt in all of this, but when you see how much he has held on to that, like, Ellen at this point has been gone for what? Jamie
years,
50 something years. So she's been gone 45 years at least. Well, no, because I forgot he died He died when Jamie was
16 or something like that, when he got beat at the jail.
he was 20, I think 19 or 20 when that happened.
Oh,
So
okay. It was later
still
than that. Okay.
an additional 15 years passed when she died. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it kind of it makes you say, okay, you know what? I understand Mercer got hurt, but this was that forever love for this man. And I'm sure
Yeah.
if Ellen had lived, it would have been that for her as well. I mean, if you think about the little vows that she says to him after they have their, I was just like, it hurt me so much because I was like, you see how much love there is between these two people, only to know that within a matter of years,
Yeah. So
she's
short.
gonna be gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
But it's like the way I reconcile that though is they had their 13 years or so of relationship is better than her having 50 years healthy with Malcolm, because she had that, whatever that spiritual bond was, she had that for at least 13 years.
yeah.
And but dang, it's so short to do all of this and go through your life and then you die so young. It's just so
And
painful.
that's not even the end of your heartbreak because before you die, you lose a child.
You lose your child.
And then
Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
And
die
then your
in
other
childbirth.
child. Yeah, yeah. And your
So
other child dies also.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So it's just, I hate to say it, it's like Brian paid for his happiness in the end. He
Yeah.
really did. He paid the ultimate price.
Yeah. Like it's almost like he sold his soul for a certain amount of time, and then it came to collect, right? Like it's,
Yeah,
oh man.
which sucks, but then okay, so during all of this, like we said, Murta leaves them alone. He basically tells Brian, I'm going hunting and yeah, I'm gonna be gone
Yeah.
till the morning time. I need you to handle your business while I'm gone.
Because it's your wedding night, boo.
Like Murta is not subtle in the least, but okay, so we get the extended love making scene that y'all keep complaining about, which
Well,
again,
I wasn't as complaining about this one. I thought this one was really hot because I knew that, you know, some person was gonna walk into the abandoned church after they snuck away, obviously.
right.
I thought it was beautiful. It was very, very, romantic.
Yeah. And then afterwards, they're sitting outside, they're giving each other these pledges about their love. And then Brian looks panicked, and I was like, did they find them? This is what I was thinking, like, oh my God, did they get found? But no, you see all across in the distance, the
Yeah,
fiery
the fiery
crosses are being
crosses.
lit. And it's to signal the clans, coming together for the Jacobite rebellion. And Brian says, I have to go to refuse the call is tantamount to being a traitor. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
death sentence. And he says, but if I go, he's looking at Ellen like, okay, if I go, I can't, I'm not taking you because it'll be
Yeah.
dangerous. And Ellen was like, I am your wife. We will face this together. And I
Yeah.
was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so that tells me that season 2 is going to be dealing with the first
At
Jacobite
first. Yeah.
rebellion. And I did see, I think that same interview with Diana Gabaldon, I think she did confirm that there is going to be a lot of historical stuff in season 2. They will be dealing with the first rebellion. So we will get a lot of that. We will get some more history lessons, and we'll see how Brian and Ellen face this because right now, like Lord Lovat doesn't even know Brian has left and
No,
done
what
all of this.
happened?
You don't know nothing about Brian.
He
Nothing.
don't know nothing about Brian because he's too busy trying to get his wife and child back.
Right.
Child.
But so you have them staying in this little hobbit house. They have no money, they have no land, no titles, no nothing. Like Ellen literally left with the clothes on her back and a small bag full of food. That
Yeah.
was it. And
That's it.
that's what she was telling Colin. She was like, let me go prepare for my future because she knew what she was leaving behind. She knew she was leaving
Mm-hmm.
behind her luxury, her comfort,
Mhm.
but she was like,
People
okay,
she
this is more
loved.
important, right? This is more important, which is beautiful and scary at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's very
That you have
scary
so
because
much love for a person
yeah.
that you are willing to leave everything and everyone behind and be like, okay, you know what? If we got to sleep in this hole in the wall house with no furniture and sleep on the floor, as long as we're together, I'm good. I mean,
Which
we know
was
that
very
changes.
lucky.
Yeah. I mean, and we know that changes later on because of somewhere he's able to get some land and he builds Lallybrock literally by hand, his own hands. That's one of the things that Jamie always says. And that's something that he also tells Brianna. He was like, I built it by myself, brick by brick. I built it for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, Dina. I know. It's like,
Build me a house, and where my house at? Build me
I
a
know,
house.
but it's like, you love it, but at the same time, you know that it's limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I absolutely loved this first season.
So
It
sad
it
it's over.
actually it surpassed my expectations. It really did. Because
Mm-hmm.
I went in like I don't want to say I went in not expecting much because of who the showrunners and the writers are. I was like, okay, they're familiar with Outlander. They've done 8 seasons of the original show. They know what this story is and what it's going to mean to the fans. So I
Mm-hmm.
won't say that I had a low bar, but I was just kind of like, okay, if it matches Outlander, I'm cool. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's really giving me first season Outlander vibes. Like the bar, they raised the bar so much for these stories and these characters. And I just need to know when season 2 is coming out. I know they're still filming. I think I saw another interview with Hermione and Jeremy. That's Henry and Julia, and he mentioned that they were still filming. But I just need to know. I need to know. I know we're getting Outlander in the early part of 2026, so we only have a few months. I need to know when this show is coming back. Like, please don't make me wait 2 or 3 years. Please don't. Just
No. Oh no. No.
I need
I
it. Y'all
think
got
with
me
this
hooked
show,
now.
I think with this show, they're gonna put them out faster so people don't lose interest because there aren't any books.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's different
I
with
agree to that.
Outlander because she had books coming out. It
Mm-hmm.
was more source material happening. So they're like, potentially we could get through all this source material. But with this,
Yeah.
they gotta put these out because otherwise
I
I'm gonna
know.
be pissed.
I know. Now, she did mention in the same interview that I read that she is hoping for next year as far as book 10. She
Oh
said she
wow.
can't
Okay.
say because, they got to go through, they got to read everything, they got to do editing, blah, 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 all this stuff. But she did mention that. And that's the first time that I've actually seen her say anything having to do with the date. So she
Okay.
said, hopefully next year. I would assume it's probably going to be the end of next year if it does come out next year. But at least we know we have that story coming. She is still writing the prequel book, and I just found out that her stories for Brian and Ellen they're supposed to be a trilogy. It's supposed to be
Okay.
3 books. Now, she said, depending on what she ends up writing, it could end up being just a duology. She did say that some of the ideas they have put in the show for Brian and Ellen were things that she didn't think of. That she was like, "Oh, actually, that kind of works." So she may actually put
Oh.
those in the prequel. But
Mm-hmm.
you go to her Facebook page and her website, she does these she releases these little snippets of her books
Mm-hmm.
every couple of weeks or so. She has started posting snippets from her Brian and Ellen prequel. So there is the scene where the most recent one she released was the scene where Ellen and Ned find Red Jacob dead, and the conversation
Oh.
that happens after that, because I don't know if you guys realize what happened in the show. He basically died on top of a maid servant.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit more detail to that in the snippet that she posted a couple of weeks ago. But if you should be so inclined to, just see kind of where she's at, she has posted some very fun snippets from book 10
Okay.
that I love, because they're with characters and situations that I was hoping would happen in book 10. like characters getting together or meeting and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, okay, please give me this book now because the snippets are making me excited. So yeah, but
I
she
might need
does
to
have some from the prequel.
start back reading the books.
I mean,
So
look, y'all just tell me when y'all want to start, and I will start over from the beginning with you guys.
well, I'm not starting from the beginning.
Well,
I think I
wherever
was
you
on
want to
4.
start,
I think I was on 4.
wherever you want to start, I'll start with you. I'll start with you. So, yeah, but how are you guys feeling about the first season?
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if I feel this passionate about the different things in it, then I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good point. Nope, I agree with you that like I have fallen in love with these characters. I've fallen further in love with Murta, who I
Yeah.
already thought,
Me
oh my
too.
gosh,
So I
he's
just,
such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I loved him even when he was grumpy old Murta, because
Ye-
his journey with Claire and helping Claire all that time. So like to see him as a young man and it's just been great. And then I just like seeing all the young characters, all the young folks, and
And Dougal.
Julian Henry.
And Dougal.
yeah.
Oh God, Dougal,
Dougal.
Dougal and
Yeah.
Brian, baby. Woo, those are my top picks for
Yeah.
the season.
And then there's characters I just, my heart goes out to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Malcolm Grant.
yeah,
Um, you know,
for
just
sure.
sorry,
Sorry to that man.
I
yeah.
know. I know.
You had to
But
be our
yeah,
sacrifice. So,
For
that
our
that's
happiness.
yeah, for the happiness of everyone.
yeah.
Mm.
But that kind of that probably does explain where Jamie got that middle name from because they probably
Hmm.
both felt guilty about it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what you gonna do? True love was calling. Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
So, it's hard.
Yeah.
And the real MVP too is um Brian's mom because she has to sit there with Lord
I
Lovat
love it. Oh,
and
girl.
While
has
he's
been dealing with
upset
him for
because
years.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I do love about like how Julia, hey, play stupid, do the thing so you'll be safe. And I like that Davina's like, okay, you right. And she plays the game how she's supposed to and that she's not being dumb.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
I
But
was really afraid.
I also love the fact that even before Julia came up with that plan, she was like, how many times have you saved my son's life? If I have to sacrifice my life to make sure you get safe, I will do it because I owe you. I love that too because if you think about where we were half a season ago, we
Yeah.
were like, this woman needs to die.
We
She's
was about to kill
evil.
your
We
baby
Yeah.
in an
Yeah,
exorcism
that's
because we
true.
was jealous.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But I mean, I love the interaction that we've seen of Claire and Jamie's parents kind of intermingling and the friendships that they've built. And I really hope that we are able to see a little bit more of that in the next season. I don't know how likely that's going to be, especially considering we really don't know where Henry and Julie are going to end up. But I
Yeah.
hope that there is something there that kind of, brings them back together. That would be nice before,
Yeah.
all hell breaks loose and we start losing people. But I will say this, I don't know how many seasons this show is planning to go. I don't know if I want to watch it to the point where Julia dies, where Ellen dies. I don't know if I, I don't know. I would like to see a little Jamie, but I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I could be good up to Jamie,
Yeah,
like being born.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because
I don't.
it's Jamie, I just look at little Jamie. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to see her die.
yeah. No, and I don't want to see his grief or
Yeah.
Murta's grief.
Oh, and
No,
you know what? And that could be the reason he's grumpy. There we go. I forget
could
about
be,
that.
could be,
That's it.
could be. Yeah,
Which is
Yeah.
even sadder than even now. Because not
Yeah.
only have you been pining after her, but now she's gone. So you can't even have that because
Yeah.
she's somebody else's to mourn. Man.
Yeah. So that's it right there. That's it.
yeah, yeah. But okay, so as mentioned, Outlander, the main show, is coming back early 2026.
Yep.
I hope they mean early when they say early. So like
Lord,
give me
please.
January, February, March. One of those 3 months. That's early.
I need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't play games with us.
And then let's see. We don't know about book 10 yet. If I hear anything, we'll say something. We have Conjuration coming up in next month.
Yay.
Here in
In a month
Atlanta.
exactly, almost.
Almost exactly a month.
Yes.
November 14th through 16th is going to be at the Sonesta Gwinnett Place. All 3 of us will be there along with Anthony and Mike. We will all be doing panels. Dina will be joining us on some of our panels, including our 2 Outlander panels. We will be talking about the main show and Blood of My Blood. More details will be posted on our website once that is available. The schedule should be out probably within the next couple of weeks. Dina will also be doing some game shows at Conjuration with some of our other friends, and those things are always fun. So if you happen to be in Atlanta, November 14th through 16th, and you're looking for some fun, nerdy type of stuff to do, go to conjurationcon.com and look it up. It is a fantasy-based fan convention. They have a lot of fun things. They have performers, they have vendors. We do fan panels, like we said, game shows, live performances, and there will be a Wicked themed ball this year. So we're looking forward to that. But you guys have any final thoughts before we close out for season 1 of Blood of My Blood?
I need people to hurry up and move out the way and get where they're going and stop talking, hugging, and kissing, and just go, because you're wasting time.
They didn't know if they were gonna see each other again, so they had to, they had to get their goodbyes in, because now, I mean, if you think about it, technically speaking, Brian and Ellen are on the run.
Yeah,
yes, that is true. But I do feel like they knew they was gonna be on the run, so they could have said bye like 30 minutes ahead of time, and then was like when it was time to run,
Yeah, maybe if they had done that, they wouldn't have run into Malcolm Grant. But that would have, then that would have been a whole different problem, because Malcolm would have gone after them. So maybe it worked out the way it was supposed to.
But I don't know. Would he have gone after her by herself if he hadn't realized that there was a man involved?
Oh yeah, I think because the slight was still to him. Like, you still stood me up on my wedding day.
Yeah,
I think if his uncle went away and wasn't backing him up, I don't think he would. I don't think he would go look for her.
I think
it's like, until he said that thing about revenge, he probably was just like, no, she's still mine. I'm gonna find her.
Right.
Because even
he may have changed her mind. I can convince her. Yeah.
When he was talking to Colin, he was like, as soon as Mr. Bug brings my bladier back, there's gonna be hell to pay. So yeah, no, he was going after somebody. He was just waiting for Henry to come back, because of course he wasn't gonna get his hands dirty. That's what Henry and Mr. Bug are for.
Yeah.
So yeah. Damn, Mr. Bug. Michelle, you got any final thoughts? Besides rest in peace, Malcolm.
Yeah, just rest in peace.
I do feel bad about that. So
I'm sorry, everyone. He was a huge sacrifice. He was lied to.
He
was. It would have just been better if he just didn't care about her, and even the harsh things he said when they ran into, but that was just from being hurt.
Yeah, and drunk.
You know what I'm saying? It was just being hurt.
Yeah.
And hyped up.
Yep. Hurt, hyped up, and drunk. So
because even then he was like, oh, you came back to me. Yay.
was like, no. Look at the way she's dressed. She has a bonnet over her head. She is not coming.
But he has blinders on with her.
Yeah.
So
the uncle said.
Yeah.
He under a spell.
Yeah.
So that's another ending. Get out from under the spell of these women.
Or you're gonna end up dead.
Or you're gonna end up dead.
And on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.